You know that weird gurgling sound your toilet makes in the middle of the night? Or maybe you've got that one super green patch in your yard, even when everything else is dry? Well, what if I told you those aren't just random little quirks? They're actually clues to a secret battle happening right under your house. Today, we're going to expose the hidden enemies of your plumbing, and you might be shocked to find out that the biggest one could actually be your address. Let's dive in. All right, let's get right to it. Why do pipes really fail? I mean, we all just assume a burst pipe or a nasty backup is just bad luck, right? Something that just happens. But what if it's not random? What if there's a pattern, a story behind it all that you can actually understand and even get ahead of? That's exactly what we're going to figure out. Okay, raise your hand if any of these sound familiar. Gurgling toilets, weird smells from the drain, a water bill that suddenly skyrockets, or how about when your water pressure just disappears, or you see rusty water? Yep, we've all been there. But these aren't just annoying little things you have to live with. Think of them as distress signals. Your house is trying to tell you something is wrong, and it's about time we figured out what it's saying. So, to get to the bottom of this, we're going to zoom in on one specific place, McLean, Virginia. Now hold on, this isn't just a local story. Think of McLean as our perfect case study. What happens there reveals these big, universal truths about the struggles our homes face everywhere. The problems in McLean? Yeah, they're probably happening right in your own neighborhood too.
All right, time to reveal our first culprit. And you might be surprised. It's not a shoddy part or a bad plumbing job. Nope. The first hidden enemy is literally the ground your house is sitting on. That's right. The dirt, the soil, the geography. It has a huge say in whether your pipes live a long, happy life or, well, don't.
So in places like the Piedmont region, where McLean is, the soil is loaded with clay. And you really shouldn't think of it as just dirt. It's more like a giant sponge under your entire property. When it rains hard, that clay soil soaks up water and expands. Then when it gets dry, it shrinks and contracts. Now, just imagine your poor plumbing pipes being stuck in the middle of that, getting squeezed and then released over and over again. It's a disaster waiting to happen. And this isn't a one-time thing. It's a cycle. The soil soaks up rain, it expands, and it puts this immense pressure on your pipes. Then it dries out, contracts, and everything shifts. This constant movement, this push and pull, is like a slow-motion earthquake. It might not feel like much day to day, but over the years, it forces pipe joints to move, to weaken, and eventually to crack. It's a silent war happening just a few feet below where you're standing. Okay, moving on to culprit number 2. This one isn't underground. It's actually hidden inside your own walls. I'm talking about your home's history. That year it was built. It's not just some random number on a deed. It's a major clue that tells us what kind of materials are lurking in there. And trust me, that makes a world of difference. Let's focus on this specific era, the 50s, 60s, and 70s. This was a massive construction boom in America. So if your home was built back then, you're not alone. But it also means you're likely living with an original plumbing system that's pushing 50, 60, maybe even 70 years old. You see where I'm going with this? It's basically a ticking time bomb. And the main villain from that era? A material called galvanized steel. For decades, it was the standard, but it has a huge fatal flaw. It corrodes from the inside out. So on the outside, the pipe might look totally fine, but on the inside, it's a horror show of rust and corrosion slowly closing up like a clogged artery. This is what causes that terrible water pressure, the mysterious pinhole leaks, and yeah, that gross, rusty water that sometimes spits out of your tap. But hey, there's some good news here. Technology has come a long way. Modern materials, we're talking copper or PEX, are a total game changer. They are super durable, they improve your water quality, and most importantly, they just don't have that fatal flaw of corroding from the inside. It's basically a permanent fix for that old, rusty pipe problem. So, we've talked about the ground below and the history in your walls, but what about culprit number 3? Well, this one is a little different. Sometimes the biggest threat to your plumbing is hiding in plain sight, right in your beautiful backyard. We're talking about nature's own aggressive tactics. This quote right here just nails it. Think about those gorgeous mature trees in your yard. They look so peaceful, right? But underneath, their root systems are incredibly powerful, and they are on a mission to find one thing: water. And you know what looks like an all-you-can-eat buffet to a thirsty tree root? Your sewer line. They can find the tiniest little crack or weak joint and just work their way in. And once they're inside, it's game over. those little hair-like roots explode into this thick, tangled mass that acts like a net, catching everything that goes down the drain. This is ground zero for those slow drains and gurgling noises you hear. And if you let it go, you're heading straight for every homeowner's worst nightmare, a total sewer backup. So how in the world do you fight an enemy that's buried underground? Well, you use modern technology. A video camera inspection is exactly what it sounds like. We send a tiny, high-def camera right down into your sewer line. It gives us a crystal clear, real-time look at what's going on. Blockages, cracks, and yes, those nasty root intrusions. It lets us find the exact problem without digging up your entire lawn. It's an absolute game changer. Okay, so once you've found the problem with the camera, how do you fix it? You bring in the big guns. It's called hydrojetting. Just imagine a pressure washer, but like 1,000 times more powerful, designed specifically for your pipes. It uses high-pressure water to just obliterate everything in its path. Years of buildup, grease, and it completely shreds those tree roots. It scours the pipe clean, making it practically brand new again. And look, it's not just tree roots. Nature has a whole arsenal. If you live where it gets cold, that freeze-thaw cycle can be brutal. Water in an exposed pipe freezes, expands, and boom, you've got a burst pipe. Or if you live near a river, a high water table during a storm can mean big trouble for your basement and your sump pump. The bottom line is, wherever you live, your specific environment has its own unique set of challenges. Okay, so we've identified the bad guys. The soil, your home's age, and the environment. That's a lot to worry about, right? Well, not really, because knowing is half the battle. Now we can take all this information and turn it into real power. It's time to stop just reacting to problems and start being a smarter homeowner. So here it is, your cheat sheet to becoming a plumbing genius for your own home. First, know your home's age and what the pipes are probably made of. Second, get a sense of your local soil. Is it that heavy clay we talked about? Third, pay attention to those big, beautiful trees near your house. And of course, get those vulnerable pipes insulated before winter hits. It really just comes down to knowing the warning signs so you can catch a small problem before it becomes a huge, expensive disaster. When you think about it, all those little things, the gurgles, the slow drains, the drips, they're not just random noises. They're part of a story. A story your plumbing is trying to tell you about the ground it lives in, the history it's seen, and its health right now. So the only question left is, now that you know the language, are you going to listen to what your house has to say?